Hey guys, just a quick video on my health transformation. Now, I had just written this up like yesterday, so I haven't had much time to practice it. I've only just really written it up and gone from there. So I'm going to have to read it for you and tell you a bit more about my story. If there's any questions, I'm glad to talk about them. However, at the moment, as I said, I just got to read this because unfortunately some of it there is no way I could express without having read it from here. So, health had to become a priority. For many years, I was living an unhealthy life. Growing up, I saw the effects of not looking after ourselves on many family members. I learned that this was normal. There was little fruit and vegetables in the house, as well as little really healthy foods, healthy meals, etc. Most of the meals were easy cooked meals. My grandfather, who I called Opa, died when I was 10 from cancer. Had I known about the alkalis in my body at the time, then maybe he would have gotten some time to spend with his 6 grandkids, which I'm the eldest. It was years later that my grandmother died from emphysema at roughly 17. From there, it went on to Mum becoming a diabetic, and she barely changed her diet until years later. The rest of the family was very inactive growing up. Around the time of 17, I learned that my back had a curvature, that it was alive. Now, that curvature was on top of being an asthmatic. There was a number of unhealthy influences from the family diet, because that's just what it was. You didn't see, as I said, the salads. You didn't see the vegetables floating around as much. It was more just a very quick, easy, done meal out the door. That was all it was growing up. Starting my career, I worked in the fast food industry. Now, that was a very bad idea because it was eating the food and drinks that they had. It was in 2006, after I dislocated my kneecap for the 4th time. I dislocated it once on my right hand side and 3 times on my left during that time frame of about 10 years. Because of my health, because I hadn't been able to get control of my health. And no one had really told me to get my control of my health at that time. I was told that I had to get my health under control, or I could be a diabetic, could be anything. So I started losing weight. I was around 131 kilos. I'd been working on the weight journey and the health journey for many years. However, with little success. I'd spent those years working on keeping my health, but really no way of getting it done. I'd get some, lose some, gain some, because I was still to learn about the healthy aspect of the diet and a lot more. When I did start, I was at the gym. I was losing around 250 grams a week. I went from there on to work with a nutrition company as an independent rep, that selling the products that they had, that I'd lost over 40 kilos at that time. It stayed until I let those influences in my life at the time run my life and tell me about the cost of that journey, as well as that it wasn't right. I was living on the pension at the time. That living on the pension was very hard for me because I was just surviving, and it was at that time that my own father could barely understand that that was just what it was. That's part of another story. I spent years working either part-time or barely at all to maintain and run the business I had and with the companies I was working with, to learn many lessons, not only from that company but from the guys that were in my life at that time. Some of them have had many great influences over me. These days, I go to the gym around 2 days a week. Sorry, I go to the gym around 3 days a week. I go for a walk about 2 days a week. Now, the walk's around half an hour, and my gym is around, can be up to an hour. It really depends on how strong I'm feeling at that time and how long it's going to take me to get those laps done. It's 46 laps, and that can take me, as I said, anywhere up to an hour. I learned that I wasn't successful because of the training in the company, but also because there was no way of building those relationships and friendships that I had and needed at that time. Because for me, part of my story is that the friendships and relationships were very tough for me. I haven't been able to build those friendships over time because of influences and also some people's, how they've just treated and how they dealt with me in the past. That's, again, part of another story. I've learned that there was better ways to build a business rather than just handing out flyers and just being out there promote. That you go out there and attempt to build a friendship. But again, that person's got to be willing for that friendship. It's part of the other story. The loss that I had from that nutrition company was great. However, it was also that I had to learn again, many years later, what foods I could eat properly, what exercise I needed to do, and a lot more, because after that time, it just, when I left the company, my weight was good for a while, but as I said, I listened to other people. So the foods just weren't as good as they could be. At the time when before I was losing weight, I could easily buy a 2-litre soft drink and it was gone within hours. That these days it's very rare. I may have a soft drink in the fridge and it'll be drunk one day, but sometimes I'll split it up over 2-3 days. It really depends. Sometimes there's only 1 or 2 soft drinks a week. I've gone from that type of lifestyle to continuing to see mum as a diabetic. Family is barely showing any interest in their own health transformation and changing their own health. It's who they are. I started doing my exercise daily to become stronger, which has been another part of the battle, because when I first started, I barely did my exercises. I didn't know how to start or to keep on going. I spent years where I'd do them for a while and then suddenly I'd just stop them. Those exercises had to become part of my life, as well as getting to the gym, staying at the gym and being there so consistently that it wasn't funny. The walks had to become part of my life, that I had to be physically active at that time. I'd spent years, as I was saying, listening to those unhealthy people. The people who would say, I don't do healthy. When I'd ask for a healthy meal or ask for a smaller portion, they'd get pissed off because I was attempting to eat right and healthy and better, rather than asking for a large portion. I'd ask for a small portion and they just weren't happy about it. So I knew and had to learn that about those influences, that they weren't always the right people, and that family barely knew everything about health, although in the beginning I suspected they did, and I understood they did. So I was even told by my doctor at that time, when I did start to lose weight, that he didn't believe that I could do it, because he was the one that said to me, look, either you lose the weight or you're going to have health complications in the end. And in the end, I knew that I could get there, so I just went from there. Anyway, have an amazing day. I'll be putting some photos up with this video as well, and I hope you've enjoyed the post. Catch you later.